Hello, gentlemen.
How are you, Doc?
He's talking to you, Dean.
I'm good.
Talking to me. Oh my gosh. Well, thanks so much for being here, Doc. We really appreciate you, brother. Thank you for making time. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I got Flow State in here too. Before the chat, we were talking a little bit. I said, "Hey, D, Doc and I are just too pretty. We don't have a beard. In the fragrance game, I feel like you have to have a hat and a beard to be a true frag guy. So I feel like we needed to have an honorary frag guy in here, and I thought no better than Flow State.
We do need some frag bros.
You want me to turn it backwards?
You might need to, man. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes before you do that. Let's just give it a break. Give it a break. It's good to see you guys. Thanks so much again for being here, and thank you guys for being in the chat. Please go ahead and like up the live for us. Please go ahead and share it. We're gonna get in and talking a few things. He says he's a frag bro. Come on, Vanilla. You're
Vanilla.
Vanilla is a frag bro. So I got a story to tell you guys about Vanilla later. Lizzie Beth and I played a nice little joke on him yesterday. And the joke ended up with him with a new bottle of fragrance. So we'll chat about that a little bit later. But Doc, let's talk a little bit. Tonight's topic has been one that I've been really interested in, and that's American-made fragrances. And you've kind of really wrote the book on American-made fragrances. At least that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to give you the credit for writing the book on that.
I'll take it.
You've done a great job with it, and I'm just looking forward today to really kind of going through this and talking about some of these brands that you know so much about. And it's really an awesome conversation, one I've wanted to have for a while. So before we do that, though, there's probably some people in the chat that are sharing the live out right now, liking the live. Thank you for the heart me's. Appreciate it. We want to get a lot of people in here to hear this.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is really going to be helpful. But I want people to know a little bit more about you, my man. So before we get in talking about bottles and fragrances and so forth, why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're based and kind of what do you do when you're not talking fragrances?
I'm in Northeast Oklahoma, general Tulsa vicinity, God's country, as people would call it. And when I'm not smelling fragrances, I'm usually online buying fragrances. And then occasionally I have to go to a hospital and wipe noses and tell people they're going to be okay.
Yeah, you do that a lot. So you're an emergency medicine, I think, is your specialty. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That is correct.
That is correct. Well, it's good work, my man. So that's good. And I know you've got kids, and I know you're kind of in the throes of life too. You've got a lot of stuff going on. So I know you're always traveling around doing different things. And that's I know we're in that same stage of life where there's just always events going on. You're always traveling somewhere. So we appreciate you making time.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is a fun deal. This is what I'm all about. So the community, the people, and spreading good fragrance, whether it's a $20 one or a $250 one, that's why we're here.
For sure. And those of you that are requesting to come up live, we're not going to bring anybody up live. It's just going to be the three of us tonight, just having a good conversation. So just FYI on that. Flow State, what about you, brother? Go ahead and give the people what they want. Tell them what you got going on, where you're at, and what you do when you're not smelling fragrances, my man.
Well, I'm in Northeast Florida, Jacksonville area. When I'm not, buying fragrances, I'm trying to make the money to buy them by way of the railroad. I've been railroading for about 18. I've been railroading for about 18 years.
18 years, man! I did not realize you had done that long. And you moved around the country a little bit too, right? You've not just been in Florida, right?
No, I've been the same place for the past 18 years.
Oh, okay.
I've traveled, but I have not actually lived anywhere other than here.
That's awesome. Well, I've got some stories to talk to you about sometime too. My grandfather worked for the railroad for many, many years, so I've got a big passion and interest in that. So we'll have to chat about that sometime. I've never gone down that conversation with you. If you guys are in the chat, please put where you guys are watching from too, and also if you have any questions for us, we're going to get to those here in just a little bit. So Doc, I do have a question, my man. As we head into this, what got you into American-made fragrances? Like, what was the thing that really got you into thinking about that and saying, hey, that's something that I care about, that like I want to really get into that? What got you into that?
Great question. And before I get deep into that, I just want to say, Flow State, small world. My father-in-law and now my brother-in-law worked in the railroad, East Coast base, even though the office is located in Kansas, and Jacksonville is one of the areas they worked in. Basically going along the railroad lines, climbing poles and taking down wire and putting up wire and putting up new poles. Did that for the last 40 years. And I had to drive a work truck from Tyro, Kansas to Jacksonville, Florida, summers ago when I was in between years of medical school. So hats off to you guys, man. Railroad work is no joke. So appreciate what you guys do.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate when we mess up, you fixing us.
It wasn't me. I was just driving the truck. So that's about all I'm good for. That and looking pretty. So back to the topic at hand, the American fragrances. So about 6 months ago, I'm on here, I'm making content, and things were just kind of blah. And I just felt like I was spinning my wheels. And it seemed like most of the people on this app had some type of an end game, whether they were trying to get big into the sales side of things, whether they were trying to just really grow their page, and everybody seemed to have a goal but me. And I just felt like, well, why am I even doing this? Maybe I should stop. And then I came across companies like uh, Covenant Sense, Queensbear, Polysniferous, and started getting into those. And I said, you know what? I'm not really here for money or fame per se or anything like that. My goal is going to be to the best I can to find these smaller companies and promote them and help them out and get their stuff out there. So that kind of gave me a goal and something to shoot for, while still having fun and being part of the community. So that's the reason I got into. Obviously, I enjoy them, but I kind of just needed a reason for being here, and that seemed like a valid one at the time.
That's awesome. I mean, it's really kind of interesting because I think we've all felt that way, right? Like all of us who've been in this game for a little while, we're kind of like, what are we doing here? Like we enjoy it. We know it's a lot of fun. Like we love smelling scents. That's obviously something that we all have a passion for. But it's like, really, what are we doing with this platform? And so I think that's awesome that you discovered that. And some of the videos that you had have been great. And I've learned about a lot of brands. I mean, we're going to go through some of them. I'm sure some of the ones you're going to talk about tonight, I'm going to show you a bottle of that I've got, and I've probably got them because of you talking about them, and because I trust you, and I know other people have kind of experienced that too. So, so have you found a favorite yet? Have you found a favorite American brand, or is that like any other fragrance related story? It's like it's hard to pick a favorite one, and you just kind of, how have you figured that out? Yeah.
I have a kind of a short list because it's hard to pick a favorite because there's some really good ones. So I kind of have a list or a ranking. So the house I'm obsessed with currently, that's American out of Atlanta, Georgia, is Savoir Faire. So it's my current kind of favorite house. Atlanta, Georgia. I've seen them; they make fantastic stuff. Um, it's hard to pick a fragrance, but the fragrance I wear the most, probably just because it's so good and wearable, is Relentless, by Covenant Sense.
So I'm showing this.
If you guys haven't tried that, really, really good hybrid of imagination and a vintage cologne with kind of a tie guard vibrato crisp opening. So that's the one I found myself reaching for the most. But between Third Eye and Covenant and Barrett Fragrances and Polysniffers, it's really difficult for me to just say, well, that's the best, because they all work for different occasions and different people.
Yep.
But the one I reach for the most is Relentless, just because it kind of works for everything.
And that was the first scent that you actually recommended to me. I don't know if you remember, that was the first one that you sent me, and it was the first bottle I picked up. And the same thing, I love it. I mean, it's one that I go to all the time. It got me into the other one that they have called the Covenant, which I like as well. It's kind of more that vibrato kind of style fragrance. It's also really, really good. Smelling it right now, actually, it's right here. But it's funny that was one that you had sent me that really kind of got me going down this whole journey here, and so yeah, I get that completely, and it was a good one. It was a good one to kind of introduce me to for that kind of a style. But Savoir Faire, pronounce it for me one more time. I want to make sure I get it right.
Savoir Faire.
Savoir Faire. It's been awesome watching some of the things that they've been doing. So that their production, I mean, their production's unbelievable. And then if I'm looking on there, I don't know if you can see the website here I'm showing. I don't know if you can see that, Doc. So, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, sure
These rock caps are unbelievable. Like the presentation is unbelievable. The box you just showed, and then what they're doing. And I know they've got 30 mLs, 50 mLs. I think they've got some shipping challenges they're working on right now. But I know the one that you keep going back to. I think you've recommended it for Valentine's Day, right? You said that's a great fragrance that people should consider wearing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and that is Soul Cafe, and I'd say it's probably their flagship scent. It's the one they're known for, and it's really it's phenomenal. You have to put your nose on it. If there was a negative or a downside to it, I will say it will turn you into a niche snob. You start smelling things like this, and all of a sudden you get bored with more basic sense. I hate to sound like a niche snob because I don't think that I am, but maybe it's turning me into one because it is just that good.
Is it just a fragrance that you think is just more deep and it just has different facets to it? It's not like a linear scent, or what do you think makes it such a something that smells so elevated to you?
I think it's got, a lot of depth and a lot of different facets and a lot of different ways it goes. But I think what makes it special is the fact that it has all those things, but it is still a fragrance that I think a lot of people just love. And I could say that about a lot of other ones like a Vintage Red by Polysnefris, where it's unique, but it's still wearable. It's still mass appealing. It's still a fragrance that everybody smells. And you may not want to wear it, but you like the way that it smells. It's just has that special quality to it.
Toby mentioned it in the chat. He said they're so unique and so well blended. That's really what really pops out to him as
Yeah.
how blended they are. And it's funny you mentioned Polysniffers too. I know we're going to talk about them a little bit, but we have our live that we normally have on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Well, they're doing a drop obviously on Saturday at noon Eastern time. So I'm going to have to pause the live right at noon to be able to try to get on there because I'm trying to get a bottle of that Plummy J and trying to get a bottle of trying to get Plummy J and also trying to get the Vintage Red is the one I don't have yet. So I'm going to try to pick up both of those this weekend, but I know they don't have a ton of it. So we'll see if I'm lucky or
I'm
not.
going to try to lure you guys into a live at about 11:59. I'm going to lure in like 20 different people and be like, hey, hold on a second, guys. And then I'll get my bottle.
That's smart. That's smart. We're all gonna. Yeah, that's what we should do. We need to collude together a little bit to just instead of having all of us try to get the same thing, we need to like all go in and buy 3 bottles, and that maybe we'll get more luck that way. I don't know. We got to figure out how to game the system. If you're in here, Noah or Jamie, you didn't hear that, and we don't mean it. And TikTok shop, TikTok shop, TikTok shop. Right.
Mhm.
Flow State. What about you, brother? Have you smelled any of these two that we've been talking about so far? Have you got your nose on any of those yet?
Yeah, I got my Brackish Man in today.
Ah, so what do you think
And,
about that one?
it's really good. I put a video out earlier, and it's it's unique and it's familiar. It's really strange. It makes me. It's kind of nostalgic. It's a little bit barbershoppy,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it has depth to it. Like I've never smelt a barbershop smell like that, where it also takes you somewhere else, and it almost makes me want to feel like I'm in a lounge somewhere, like a jazz club, and a barbershop at the same time. I sound like a niche snob, you know,
It's
but
funny.
it's really good.
Lizzie Duff smelled
Really
that for the
good.
first time last night. We had one of our famous coffee sessions where we get together and have a cup of coffee. We live here in Indiana near each other, and we brought like 30. I mean, we look like idiots probably. We bring like 30 different samples of fragrance, and we're in there drinking coffee and sharing samples of fragrance. But she got to smell that Brackish Man for the first time last night, and her husband. I know she took a sample back for him, and she loved it. So I know she just put that in the chat. She really liked it. It was super nice, and I agree with you. I think that's funny how you say that. It's very familiar, but very elevated at the same time. And again, I guess it's that fougere, which we have not talked about yet. Fougere physician. So you got to tell us a little bit about your name and how you came to love fougères and why that what that means for those people that may be in the live that have no clue what that even means.
Yeah. So initially, when I started on here, my title or tag or whatever it's called was Old Factory Sense. There's trying to be a play on words of me being old, and then the olfactory nerve is the nerve we use to smell. And it just, I then come to find out that the Olfactory Factory LLC was an online discounter, so people would get me confused for them, and I didn't have any discounts to offer. So about once that happened, I was like, well, I'm gonna start putting my face on camera, and I changed it to Fougere Physician, obviously because the kind of alliteration there. But I do love Fougere fragrances. So for people that don't know what that means, Fougere is the French term for fern, and it basically refers to what we would commonly call like a barbershop style fragrance. But it is, if you ask people like Noah or traditionalists, it's what is a fougere? It consists of 3 components, and that is lavender, oak moss, and coumarin. And the original one that came out was Houbouyant's Fougere Royale in like 1888. So that's what fougere means. That's where it comes from. Basically, you can think of it as a barbershop frag, which I love. I don't wear them that often, but I like the nostalgia of smelling it. When I was a little kid, my grandpa used to take me downtown, this little town in northwest Arkansas, to the old school barbershop with the little red and blue twirly thing outside, and they'd put the hot shaving cream on your neck after that. They did it to me, even though I'm sure I didn't have neck hair at the time. Hopefully not. Um, but it was the real deal barbershop. So every time I smell a barbershop frag or a Fujiera frag, it kind of takes me back to that moment. And so I'll always have a love for them because of that.
That makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you sharing that. I was kind of wondering where that came. I kind of knew a little bit, but I was wondering kind of and it's funny to hear that you actually don't wear as many. And I was kind of thinking about that because you always, I know you love the fresh, clean scents. Part of that's what you do for a job, right? I mean, a lot of the scents that we wear is you kind of have to think about that, right? Like you can't be going, you can't be going in, blasting amouage fragrances all day long in the ER, or you would have more people in the ER a lot longer. But so I get that too, and it still cracks me up to know that how much you love Outlands and how much your wife hates it.
Yes, this is true.
I know
This
it's
is true.
painful.
Not a fan, but it's okay. It's just going to kind of be my office scent because it's so strong. If I spray it one time in here to talk about it on a live or a video, it's in my office for 24 hours. So it's just become the potpourri for my office, and I'm okay with that.
Toby senses in the chat. Yeah, it's expensive potpourri for sure. Yeah, Toby senses in the chat saying Ombre Nomad 20 sprays in the ER. We would have to support you, Doc. You would be working there very much longer.
No, I wouldn't. I'd be a telehealth only.
So one of the other houses that you've gotten me very interested in here lately, and I see that nice little sign you have back there, and that's Barrett Fragrances, which has been amazing. Some of the different things that they've done because they've taken they have some, I think there's some original creations too, but what they've really done is taken some fragrances that everyone knows and loves, and they've combined them, which I think is great. So I'm looking at one right now that I just got in a sample of Fields of Valhalla, the Aventus and Naxos. Tell us a little bit about Barrett, because I know you've had some conversations with them and work with them. Obviously, that tell me a little bit about that brand and what you know about them.
Yeah, so this is the brand that started it all for me. About maybe roughly a year ago is the first like American kind of schmoop brand I came across, and because of two creators, Marshall the Sin Addict, and another creator called More Fragrance Please, or MFP Fragrances. He's a lot bigger on Instagram than he is here, but he is kind of the social media front for the Barrett company. So watching up their videos, I was like, he talked me into it, and I end up buying a couple. And the first one I got was Gladiator, which is their cover of Elysium. And I'd had a sample of Elysium. I loved it, but it didn't last. And I got the Barrett version, which was an extrait, and it was just quite a bit stronger. And I fell in love with it. So I started just making videos for them for free. And they were which I still do, by the way, they don't pay me. They're the first company that reached out, like said thank you, commented, reposted, and then magically a few weeks later, I got my first ever PR package, and I was just like blown away. So they've had my loyalty since. Recently, they started producing a lot of hybrids, blending things like Aventus and BR540, Aventus and Naxos, you name it. But it's high quality stuff made right here in America, very affordable. With a discount code, you can get a full size bottle for like $38. Currently, they have a Valentine's Day sale going for like 30% off. So something like this runs you like $31. Extremely affordable. They last a long time, and they smell really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, they do a great job.
I'm a huge fan of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I mean, I've just been blown away. And I think there's this one your son, I think, likes a lot. The Aventus BR540, the one that you had mentioned to me. I think it's Valhalla's Gamble. And it's great.
And this is one I actually wear quite a bit. And I don't like BR540, but there's something the way it's done or blended here that it just works. But people that like BR540 would like this. People that like Aventus would like this. And, my son likes it. I like it. It's just a very wearable fragrance.
So we do have a question in the chat for you I want to get to. So Mullins Boy asked a question about what advice you'd have for people just getting into the fragrance community. Because obviously I know he's a little bit more new to it. Some of us are too. But kind of what has been your experience? Any advice you'd give to anybody that's kind of coming into this?
For sure. First of all, I'd say this is a wonderful, open, loving, welcoming community when you're in the right parts of it. If you get into a part of this community that you think, oh, this is toxic, you're in the wrong part, because I haven't been there yet. I don't plan on going there. Just start small, buy some cheaper fragrances, whether that be like Dubai style things, whether it be things like Barrett, or you can get older designer fragrances for like $30 a bottle online. Pick up a couple that you like, start talking about them, start building up your nose, building up your collection, and just kind of follow your passion. When you try to fake it from, whatever direction you want to go, people pick up on that. And your content's kind of going to fall flat. So just, follow your heart, do what you love, make the content that you want to make, but make it good. Make it good. Some people post some stuff that, it's like, hey, you could probably edit it a little bit more. If you're looking to make content and grow in that, you don't have to post a video. You can take a whole week to edit it. Go quantity over quality. Some people disagree with that, but it's better to put out one video that's really good than to put out 25 videos that are terrible.
No,
Because sometimes people are only going to see that one video.
that makes a lot of sense. There's a Panda was in the chat too, and he's another great guy. He said, stay in your lane, don't chase the Joneses. I think that's great advice because you could easily get on here and think you got to buy 500 bottles because you see your favorite creator's got 1,000 bottles behind them, or whatever. But some of that stuff's collected over a lifetime. It's not like it's all done in a month. So yeah, I think that's a great one because you should never go into debt or spend out of your budget to be able to do that. There's ways to do it, and then there was somebody asking about a masculine fragrance, and I appreciate you guys in the chat helping answer some of those questions for us. Thank you while we're talking. But I was laughing. Anthony in the chat, who's new to this community, we're really excited to have him. He met with Flow State at a fragrance store down in Florida not that long ago, and he responded by saying polo green from 1978, unapologetically masculine. I think he's right on with his analysis there, Anthony.
Man after my own heart right there.
That's right. Anthony, we're glad you're here, brother.
I would say too, for me, it was getting out there and just posting that first video. It sucked. It was terrible. It wasn't edited. I wasn't comfortable, but, I was being encouraged by folks to do it. And, it's just getting that first one out of the way. And in the beginning, I mean, I'm not saying my stuff's any good now, but in the beginning, it really sucked. Like it was really bad. I had no direction. I didn't know which way I was headed. I just know I wanted to get on here and do something.
Yeah.
And now I hope I'm finding, a little direction. I hope, it's more humor based than it is, you guys are educational, but hopefully you guys are having fun. And, I enjoy, poking fun at myself. And, if anybody wants to be the butt, I'll oblige you.
Yeah, you've done a great job.
Get out
man.
and post that first video.
Oh man, it's been so much.
Just go post it.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right.
I would say when I started out, you watch videos from like Cal Cologne, and he's so chill and laid back. And I watched the first one a couple years ago. I was like, I could do that. He's just sitting there talking about it. I can do that. And then I turned the camera on, and it was like I had a stroke.
Yeah.
Just things went flat. I started stuttering. I was like, what? There's nobody here. It was just me in a room and with a camera. So it does take time. It is a different thing to try to do that. But I think when you do it because you actually mean it and you're not just buying LVs because it's LV, I think it comes across a lot more, genuine, and then people buy into that, and you'll grow.
No, it's a great.
And I found too, is, I was, getting on here creating content, but what's really happened is finding folks that I have, things in common with beyond fragrance, it's, finding, what I would consider friends at this point. And then also even when I'm out and about and I'm in a store and you get to have a conversation with individuals, I've met some very interesting people. And even just recently, I mean, Anthony in the chat, I met him and his dad a couple of days ago at a Sephora, and they were just sniffing around. And, his dad, he asked me a question, and it just led into, me letting them know that, I have this little old channel on TikTok, and he was interested. He followed me, and then he sent me a message and asked me to make a top 10 video. I didn't have a top 10, but little does he know, it's very difficult to do a top 10. Especially when you have as many as we do, so I'm going to oblige him in a different way. I'm going to give him some 10s, but they may not be top 10s, but I enjoy, engaging folks, on this app and even away from it. So.
No, it makes a lot of sense. It's a community, and that's, and speaking of the community, I've got Toby in the chat. He's really putting the screws right now on this hard example here. So, Doc, is it Savoir Faire, Whiskey Rose, or Hella Flora?
Mm-hmm. I haven't smelled Hella Flora. I do have a 10 ml of Whiskey Rose, which is pretty nice, but I'm admittedly not a rose guy or a whiskey guy, but it's pretty nice for a guy that doesn't like either one of those nuts. But I can't give any reps on the Hellaflora because I haven't tried it.
Well, you're
So I don't
killing
know.
me being that I live 5 minutes from Louisville, Kentucky, and my bourbon industry around here. That you're not a whiskey guy or a bourbon guy.
There are too many bad decisions in my early 20s, and I had to switch to Tito's.
Yeah,
Hey,
because that leads to better
Dean,
decisions.
bring the star of the show back in the big box.
Yeah.
He's the real guest.
Yeah, no, I know. I was going back. I'm sorry. I'm messing with all kinds of settings. You know me, guys. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah, no, without a doubt. Yeah, we don't want to look at you too long, Flo. So we just had to man it up a little bit
No,
for you guys. It's all good. We've got a
we
bit.
need beauty. We need beauty in the box.
Yeah, for sure.
Blake's not in here.
Yeah, Blake's not in here. That's right. We did have just somebody that came in just a second ago from Cincinnati. So official Aventus snob is in the room. So thanks for being here, man. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Ben Snub is a great guy who has an amazing collection and can really get you going down some rabbit holes on the batches of Aventus. Something I didn't eat that didn't even wasn't on my radar until I was hopped in watching some live that he was involved in, I think with Blake. And it's a rabbit hole. But if you've got questions related to that and lots of other fragrances, but specifically Ventus, he is a Encyclopedia Britannica of knowledge. So
It's funny how that works out with different people that just have all that knowledge that for different for different types of fragrances. So yeah, he's definitely a good one to watch. Mullins, thanks for watching for 200 minutes, man. I appreciate it. That's it's pretty awesome. Every time I see those things pop up, I'm like, who in the hell would watch me talk about fragrance for 300 minutes? But I definitely appreciate it, brother. Thank you, Doc. So what else you have on your agenda tonight? Because I know you have a lot more to talk about. We haven't talked, I don't think, about Queensberry. We haven't talked about Des Mirage. I think there's Guy Fawkes, that's an American company too. I've got some of their fragrances. I mean, so who else you got on your list there?
I've got a whole bunch, and I kind of broke it down by categories. So I've got kind of the inspired by fragrances over here. I've got more of the indie fragrances here, and then more of the niche fragrances over here. And we can kind of go and talk about whatever ones you guys want to talk about. So we can let the crowd decide if you want to talk about the more affordable ones, the more hard to get your hands on type ones, the unique scents versus the mass appealing ones. We can go with whatever people want to talk about.
Well, Anthony's in the chat right now saying, "Hey, I'm looking to get into some more niche fragrances as well." So I'm thinking maybe we go down the path of some of the niche because we kind of know what some of the inspirations are. We kind of know what they're trying to do. We know which ones do it well. Maybe what we don't know as much is who's doing something new that we probably need to smell that we haven't smelled. Maybe.
Okay, so I'm going to search off with it from my state here, Oklahoma, a company called Ouachita Fragrances. And currently he's got 8 fragrances out. I only have a full bottle of this one right here called Eufaula, which is an aquatic citrus and wood. They're kind of daily Acqua di Gio, but a little bit sweeter, a little less aromatic. He's not on TikTok yet. He's good. And he's got another one called Carnegie that is citrus, blackcurrant, and leather. That's much more like unique, wearable, but still is going to kind of, raise your eyebrows up a little bit. So that's Ouachita Fragrances. It's spelled very strangely. Spelled like that. And they are out of Edmond, Oklahoma, which is down around Oklahoma City, right next to where Marshall the Scent Addict lives. Now, thank you, D.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's good to. I had not heard of them, so that was a new one on my list.
Yeah. So, he's got 7 or 8 scents out now. He sent me like kind of a little trial sample thing. We did a little live unboxing with it, and there's those 2 that I mentioned that are really, really nice, and then a handful of others that are solid. And he's releasing a few new ones here over the next few weeks.
Now, Doc, I went to his website a couple of days ago, and I was looking for that Eufaula. Is that just on his Etsy, or is that you have to request that? Because it's in his sample set, but it's not an actual standalone bottle.
Yeah, so I think to purchase this one, you'd have to go to Etsy. He says he's redoing his website because he's got new bottles and he's doing some new fragrances. So he's having to like revamp the whole website. So this was on Etsy only. until he redoes the website.
Gotcha.
But it's pretty. I want to say a bottle this size is $40, so it's very reasonable.
And you feel like it lasts? Do you feel like it lasts for a good while for the sun profile?
Yeah, so I've wore it to work a couple of times, and for being a sweet freshie, it's a solid 6 hours. It projects very, very well. So that's one in kind of the indie niche things to talk about, and then one that maybe you've seen around, maybe you haven't,
Oh, wow.
but is Aurora Dawn fragrances. And
It's hard to
if
miss
you're
that
a
bottle.
collector, yeah, like a lot of us are, this is kind of a collector's dream. There's a set of 12 of them. Each one of them represents a different astrological sign. They all have these gorgeous bottles where the cap is made out of real metal that was made. I guess the design was so complicated that it couldn't be done by your standard people. They had to have a jeweler design the bottle cap, and it weighs about 3 pounds. But they make some really good scents. Obviously, they're unique. This is Scorpio, which is mine. But this is my favorite. It is a cedar and sandalwood, saffron and oud scent that is kind of spicy, sweet, woody, but still really, really wearable. It's very, very nice. Now he's got a total of like 18, and it's just auroradon.com, I believe. But nice if you're looking more kind of niche level presentation, niche level fragrances. This would be it.
People
Niche level prices, I assume.
Yeah, and for a while he had them on sale at like $155. I looked earlier today and they're like $198. So they're not cheap, but it's not like $400 a bottle type expensive either.
I'm laughing at people.
It does have sales quite often.
Laughing at people in the chat. They're saying that thing's a daggone weapon, and it is. You don't want to fall on that.
It is.
Yeah, that's not plastic. I don't think.
It's it.
Yeah.
Oh no. You can get his Discovery set from Aurora Dawn for $55, and it is easily the nicest Discovery set out there. It's very. I've never seen a Discovery set that comes with a presentation, but he designed his that way.
Where are they out of?
At one point was on sale for $55.
Do you know where they're out of?
San Diego, California.
Okay. They're out there in Frugal's country, Frugal fragrance. He's out there in his neck of the woods.
Yep. Absolutely. So, also, we got the Savoir Faire. We talked about that. That's one that you just can't miss out on. That would probably style stuff, and then we start getting into the indie stuff, and that's Covenant Scents, Polysniferous, Third Eye fragrances. I'm gonna make sure I'm not missing anybody. La Verde fragrances.
Yeah,
guy out of Phoenix, Arizona, Mr. Henry Green. This is kind of his flagship scent. This is Space City, and this is a sweet, bright, fresh, citrus, floral fragrance that it's familiar to me, but at the same time, I can't tell you what it reminds me of. It's one of those scents. Very wearable, very nice. Almost like take like a Rasasi Hawass and hand it to a perfumer and say, hey, make this fancier and better. And this is what you would get. If that makes any sense.
It does. No, it makes complete sense. It's that's interesting that because it was their company that I was interested in, and then the other one that you just mentioned. Who did you mention just before that? I'm trying to think.
Covenant or Third Eye.
Third Eye. Yeah, Third Eye. So Third Eye, I'm just now finally getting a sample pack of Third Eye. I met the owner of that the other day in a live, and a very nice guy and great humor. But that's a house that I'm going to be trying here soon. He's sending me some stuff out. I think he sent it out today, so I'm looking forward to getting my nose on that.
Yeah. So, and I believe Will is in the chat currently, but another perfumer out of the Florida area. I don't know what y'all are smoking down there, but it's working out for me. So keep smoking. But he's got some great scents. He's currently got 3 out, and so kind of his, most well-known flagship would be the Red Rum.
For sure.
And this is like the kind of like a black cherry angel share. I like to call it, this is Angel Share's uncle that only shows up to the Christmas party and drinks way too much. And it tells you stories about your dad you didn't really want to hear.
To me.
Yeah, exactly. This is Flow State in a bottle. but it's boozy, sweet, but still kind of has a little bit of a freshness to it. It's, really nice in the wintertime, but this is also like you can summertime date nights as well. This is unique. You guys, we all have that uncle. You know who I'm talking about. We all have that one uncle.
Apparently, Lizzie
Yeah,
loves
they
that
do.
uncle. Yeah, so everybody loves you, Flow State. That's all it is. Real quick, going back before you continue on that, what was the name of the weapon bottle again? It was Auradon. Is that right? Auradon fragrance. Auradon.
Let me see.
Somebody was in the chat asking what
Oh,
the
yeah,
name
let's see.
was. Yeah, Auradon.
Oradon.
There you go. Toby's got it in there for us. Thank you, Toby. Appreciate you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Red Rum is one I'm really excited to try out. And they've got some other ones. Were you going to mention another one that you like from them?
Yeah. So Flamingo, and this was when I first got some stuff from Will. It was like middle of August or early September here in Oklahoma. I'm in the parking lot of a junior high softball tournament, and it's on the asphalt. I don't know, it's 4,000 degrees or something. And I smelled red rum, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's a nice fragrance. That's cool. And then I smelled Flamingo, and it was just a hard stop for me. I was like, this is it. This is just like a fresh, crisp. This is more like a realistic kind of green mango as opposed to the kind of the candied mango that you would get from like a God of Fire or some of the schmoops that are out there. But this is just a nice, clean summer freshie that it was the one I fell in love with. At the time, he wasn't bottling it. And I told him, hey, the second you start putting this in bottles, I'm buying one. And a few weeks later, he did, and I bought one. And I'm very happy that I did.
Florida Frags is in the chat talking about Obsidian and Flamingo are his favorite down there, and so he knows a thing or two. We've got a lot of Florida fragrance guys down here. I love it, and it's actually funny because Polly Sense was on a live or did a video the other day, and it was cracking me up because he believes that there's some algorithm out there that's really promoting YSL6. So he stopped. I don't know if you've seen that video. If you haven't seen that video, go check him
I
out.
saw that video. That was a great bait and switch.
That was an amazing bait and switch. He kind of held out the YSL6 bottle and then compared the cap to that of Third Eye Fragrance, and I'd love to see the numbers on that video. It was pretty good.
And now his final one that was the most recent release is Iris Obsidian, which I got in on the ground floor of this. He sent me a sample before he made the final kind of mixture of it. And this is heavier, smokier. Obviously, it's got a lot of iris in it. This is kind of like this in the ballpark. Take something like Amouage Outlands and make it take a shower, brush its teeth, and comb its hair.
Nice.
And you would get Iris Obsidian. So it's smoky, it's incensey, it's spicy, but it's not so coarse and like, offensive and, burn your nostrils type of stuff.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And how would you compare that to do you get the iris in it like similar to the I'm trying to think of it was one that Rayhan did recently. The Rayhan's Obsidian, I think it was, but that was coming off of, I think, of a clone of what was it? A Dior fragrance,
Dior
I think.
Parfum?
Yeah, Dior. How does it compare to that?
It has a little bit of that kind of, what they call it, kind of that lipsticky type iris.
Yeah.
But not.
I like it.
I would say better. It's a little bit that's in there, but I get more of a little bit more of the smoke and kind of the incense, and I think there's like some vanilla in here too. I was seeing if I have the notes. It comes with these really cool little illustrations that somebody did for him, and my daughter stole all of them and like is displaying them in her room. So my note cards are also right next to a Barbie dream house and a Lilo and Stitch nightlight. So
very nice, very nice. I know how this goes. Don't you worry. At least she's not stealing the bottles. I mean, that's what I've got going on. So, hey, you got to take the wins where you can take the wins. Wayne, thanks for being in here. Appreciate you. And they have posters now. Third Eye says in the chat, so that's pretty good. And he was talking about that DHP.
It's hard to steal.
Yeah, he was talking about the DHP and how it's
website
powdering.
is thirdeyefragranceco.com. And if there was one, if like, hey, I'm just going to try one, probably Red Rum, because it's just, it's a great wearable fragrance. If you struggle with boozy notes or kind of more complex type things, try Flamingo, because it's probably the most like easiest to wear. It's a freshie. I'm a big freshie guy. And now if you're you're down in the rabbit hole of being a niche snob, get the Iris Obsidian.
I'm just showing their
That's
website.
the smoky complex one that is going to give you that unique. And he got recently labels a couple weeks ago, and they are looking fantastic.
Yeah, it looks
Really
great. And
like
then
what
and
what they
even the
did there.
prices. I mean, you look at the prices here. I mean, you've got, for 50 ml
Very reasonable.
yeah, definitely, definitely. That's good stuff. And there's a Valentine's Day sale there too, so make sure you check that out.
Yeah, and so that's Third Eye Fragrance Co. And down there in Florida, my guy Will doing good work. He's been throwing out some teasers here on social media. He's got a couple new ones headed our way, probably and hopefully like mid-March, something like that. I'm hoping. I just made that up. I'm saying that so Will hears it and he starts to release these things as soon as possible. But
I'm noticing a theme in the chat here, Doc. I'm noticing a theme that whatever you recommend, people pretty much take you for your word for it. It seems like a lot of people, when you recommend something, they're going after it, my man, and you've not steered them wrong. So, good stuff there.
well, good. There's a reason, and I don't have anything against anybody that does the sales stuff on here, but I don't do very much of it because when I tell you something, I want you to, not question, well, is he in it for, whatever. I don't have any financial relationship with Third Eye Fragrances. And so I want you to believe me when I tell you something. But when I'm talking about Red Rome and Iris Obsidian and Flamingo, it's total honesty. They are solid fragrances. So it's along with all this stuff. If I think something's not that great, I'm going to tell you. But if I think something's good, I'm not going to shut up about it either.
Well, that was the thing. You had talked about this before, which I like, and you said basically, I mean, and I think this is good advice for any fragrance content creator too. Is like, you know what, you're going to smell a lot of different things. If you don't like it, it doesn't mean that you have to review it. It doesn't mean you have to do a video on it. I mean, you just don't do it, right? You just talk about the stuff you like, and that's a piece of it. That I think that's good advice too. You don't have to go on and just get clicks by bashing somebody's brand, especially when you've got an American made company, which we're talking about tonight. That that one bad review could tank them. You know what I mean? And it's so subjective in fragrance, right? There's so many things that you're going to like and not like, and somebody is going to love that. You got to be really careful before you tank somebody's entire business just because it's not for you. So I think you got to be a little careful with that. I think. Would you want to expand on that? Any on your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. It's especially when it comes to smaller fragrance houses and companies like most of the ones we're talking about here tonight. A couple bad reviews can, literally take food off somebody's table. We're not talking about Latafa or YSL or something along those lines. So the Mr. Burger, who's a fragrance creator out there, has a really good video kind of discussing tips for content creators. I'd recommend you go check out his page, watch that video if you're kind of new and getting into it. And he has a very good approach for how he does shoppable videos and things like that. Because you need to be honest and genuine. But if every time you're on camera, you're saying it's a 10 out of 10 and it's a 1-to-1, eventually you're going to lose a lot of people. They're going to stop believing you because those things don't exist. And not everything can be your favorite fragrance. So it's different when we're talking about Latafa versus when we're talking about smaller brands. I think the best approach, and this is what Blake taught me, if he gets sent something that he really doesn't like, he just lets them know, hey, I don't think this is my thing. I don't think I can give you the type of positive review you want, and I'm happy to send it back to you if you want the bottle back. Rather than going on there and saying, well, this is a 2 out of 10, because somebody out there probably likes that fragrance. Somebody out there spent a lot of time making that fragrance. And you're gonna piss them off. And sometimes other brands see these videos, and if you've got the reputation of the guy that's just dissing stuff and slamming stuff, and if you're wanting PR, they might be crossing you off the list because it's not worth their risk, basically.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, guys that are in the chat. If you can keep liking and sharing, we appreciate it to get more people in here. Florida Frags is in the chat talking about wearing Relentless tomorrow. So then again, people know that you're a Relentless fan, and Anthony actually in the chat too. Yeah, if you're gonna bash anyone, definitely bash a well-off designer brand, not a local, not a local company. So speaking of bashing big designer brands, I think that's one thing that also is we have to talk about a little bit is the prices on some of these designers now. I mean, they are really inching up to be where it is almost unbelievable. They're inching into meat ranges right now, and I think that's something that makes you think, well, hey, maybe I can support a different brand. I could spend a little bit less and still get that maybe even higher quality than what these designers are going at. Have you had any thoughts on that and kind of where you are? I mean, obviously we love Creed, right? I mean, you love Creed, I love Creed. Like
Mhm.
we love our Aventus, and Absolute Aventus is kind of our one of our favorite fragrances. But that those are expensive fragrances.
Yeah, yes, they are.
So
Um, so there's a new Polo 67 Extreme coming out in the next few weeks, maybe mid March, and it looks like the retail price on it's going to be like $200.
Yeah.
I hope I'm incorrect in this, and it's because it's weird for Ralph Lauren to charge that because they're not Dior. Um, but I think people are trying to get this money while they can. The market's hot right now, and that's where we're seeing a lot of releases. But for $200, there is a long list of high quality niche fragrances you can buy off a discounter for less than that. So
Absolutely.
um, I hope people aren't doing that. And a lot of times, even with the new releases, you wait 6 weeks, it'll end up at a discounter, and you'll save at minimum 20%. So
Uncle Tragic's in the chat, and he's right. I mean, he is right because a lot of designers' costs are driven up by dupe houses, and I get that. I understand. I understand how that's changed the dynamic for them too, and what they're doing. But I don't know. It's. I guess it's a business for a reason, right? I don't know. I'm sure it's not as easy as we make it
mm,
sound here, kind of Monday morning quarterbacking
sure.
it. But it seems like the profit margins, everything I read and look at, are pretty darn high on some of those bottles. So I don't know.
It talked about it, but when it comes to things like pricing, and people get on here and they get angry about price gouging and being greedy and things like that. But a lot of companies, LV, Chanel, Dior, you name it, these higher end designers, they're hates to say it, but they're not making fragrances for everybody. There's people like myself and plenty of that they don't want you to wear their fragrance. They're luxury, and luxury means it's not for everybody. Because if everybody owns LV, LV is not luxury anymore. So not only do they price it a certain way to make their money, but they price it at a certain level so not everyone can afford it. And Latafa does the exact opposite. They price it to where everyone can get a bottle. Literally everyone can go, get them some Assad if they want to. But that's not what LV and Chanel and Dior and them want to do. And I understand that side of the business for them. So
Yeah, they sell on volume as opposed to on margin, which definitely pays off. And Tragic's in there, Dan, talking about Amouage rep told me to my face that they hate what Flan did with Outlands, which is interesting. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that sometime. Tragic, that's an interesting one. As far as discount codes, you just saw one, and I would also say check out our BIOs from Doc and mine. There's a lot of codes in there that you can use
mhm.
at different places. That's a good place to get those. And there's also I'm trying to think that's one good way to do it. That's probably the best way to do it. Would you say, Doc, is to go there and get the links to all the different sites that are linked there?
Yeah. I don't understand the algorithm thing. I was live last night without like a shop going and got a violation within 60 seconds. So
Really?
then I put a couple things in my cart, came back on and basically was releasing the rest of the Epstein files, and they just let me go and didn't say a thing. So I don't know what we can say or not say. Check the BIOs. I've got a couple discount codes at Sensitive Parfumes and Barrett, and maybe a couple other places that I'd love. I mean, I want you guys to save money and get the best deal you can. So
Never pay retail,
if you
right? That's
can't
the
figure
thing.
out like how to get to the link trees, you can DM me or DM any of those guys, and we will message you back. We want you to save money and spread the good stuff.
Yeah, without a doubt. And those of you that are trying to come up in the live, just FYI, we're just kind of keeping it to the three of us tonight so we can talk about this and have more space to talk. So feel free to put your questions in the chat. We've been trying to get to them and kind of get on there. So feel free to keep doing that. Please keep liking, loving, sharing the live, anything to help get us out there a little bit more as we have this conversation. So Doc, one of the ones I was curious about, and I don't know if you've tried this or not. I was put onto this by Covenant Pops, who had this
Mhm.
was the Guy Fawkes brand. Have you seen anything on them? Have you tried any of their fragrances? Because they are kind of, I think, your kind of profile where they're very
Yeah.
easygoing, very light, very fresh kind of fragrances, nice presentation. Have you tried any of these yet?
Yeah. So, small world. So my guy out there, Poppy Sense, months ago was getting into some Guy Fawkes, told me about him. over the summer, I was at a nearby lake for my wife's family reunion and was at a marina. We were there eating lunch and messing around doing lake stuff. And in the gift shop of the marina, they had like 5 Guy Fawkes scents. And my daughter takes me right over there. She's like, "Daddy, you smell these?" And I smelled all of them. I don't remember the names, but they were all fresh, clean, nice fragrances.
Yeah, the two that I'm loving the most right now are Hefe and I think it's Michael, Mikul. I'm assuming is how they pronounce it. But they're 50 milliliter bottles and they're real clean and fresh. The Michael bottle, it's got basil, grapefruit, and cedar are kind of the top notes, and then the top notes on the Hefe is mandarin orange, sea notes, and oak moss. And they're just really clean. You know, they're not going to last you all day by any means, but they're just really clean, fresh fragrances. But the way they're priced, I mean, they're not priced in such, you know, it's kind of an easy go-to, right? An easy go-to, kind of a cheaper fragrance.
They are extracts.
Oh, they are
They
extracts.
are extracts.
They are.
Yeah, they are extracts. And from the ones that I've tried, not every one of them, but a handful of them, from my nose anyway, they are definitely going after some other DNAs. You know, the Aventus, one of them smells very much like a Valentino born in Roma. So they are in a very designer space. They're not doing anything crazy or, you know, outlandish.
No.
You know, as an indie house, they're staying very safe, and they're not bad. But I think that as an extract, you might get a little more out of those, and you might even the OG that they're going after.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, very good. That was one that I just was wondering if you had tried to see. And then another brand that you've talked a little bit about that I don't think we've talked about tonight. I know their presentation's really good. Is Desmirage. They do some great work too. Go ahead there, Flo. Well, you go ahead, then I'm on Flow State to talk about it. His first one he just got in.
Okay, so you know, I support obviously American companies, but I support the companies that support me. And Desmirage is just kind of kind, considerate, good people running the company. And I've been told this a million times by Blake and others. And I just said, it was one of those companies I never got around to trying. And then Blake kind of connected us and we were emailing and the guy was like, "Hey, here's our fragrances. Let me know what you'd like to try." And I listed like 5 or 6 that I'd like to try. It's like, I think I enjoy these, send me 1 or 2, whatever out of this list. And they sent me all of them. And along with that, they sent, a letter that said, "Hey, whether you love it or whether you hate it, don't change your video. We want to know what you honestly think about the fragrance, because we can't get better if you're out there telling everybody it's a 10 out of 10 when it sucks." So they're the only company that's ever told me that, and they've told me that multiple times. So they are taking the necessary steps to make their products as good as it can be. And I believe that they're doing some great work. There's a handful of them I love. And there's some new releases coming out that I'm ready to try as well. But as far as an affordable, inspired by house, they're doing fantastic work. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. So, Flow State, what are you thinking about it? I think you got the one that Doc loves, obviously the Balde Freak, which a version of that. It's a Sahara Sunset version, the Parfum. What do you think about it?
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It's really close. It's the opening, of course, straight out of the bottle, when I picked it up and sprayed it, it has that, it hasn't been oxidized yet. It hadn't sit, so it's a little alcoholic at first. And I assume that's going to go away with a little bit of time, but as it settles down, it's very much in that space. Most people wouldn't even be able to tell the difference.
I tell you, I was so impressed by their presentation. Like, I'm sure you felt the same way. I mean, it was unbelievable. The tube, and then the cap, I think is awesome. I mean, the obviously magnetized cap on it. The bottles are nice, heavy bottles and solid. The design, even on the labels. I mean, they've just done a really great job with the presentation of their fragrances.
And they're redoing all the bottles.
Are they really?
6 weeks, so you're going to have a whole new bottle design. Yeah.
The magnetic cap.
Wow. So what are they going to? Do you know what they're doing? What are they doing with it?
It's going to kind of look almost like the best way to describe it would be almost like a princess cut diamond. Is how the bottle will kind of look.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of a designer. There's some designers out there that have a similar style bottle, and I can't think of what it looks like, but it's going to look a lot higher class. So when I first saw the Desmirage, from a distance, I used to watch the Dupe Demon do his lives, and he's a big Desmirage guy. And kind of from a distance, seeing this, I was like, oh, I thought they kind of looked cheap. I was like, yeah, this is some weird kind of, mom and pop Etsy dupe company. I'm not interested. But then you get it in and it's got this really nice textured paper on the box and it's got the kind of LV style tube that it comes in. It's, the outside packaging is phenomenal. The bottles are perfectly fine, but I think the upgrade that they're going to is going to be really, really nice.
I like Lizzie wants
Yeah.
details. She's got squared with bevel edges. She really wants details about this diamond. She heard diamond and she perked up on and when you said that. Uh,
Maybe it was like I'm not sure that an emerald cut. I don't know.
come on,
No,
Doc.
Pretty color. Yeah.
Doctor talked about the label, but the label even has a textured fabric feel to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the pictures or videos don't necessarily do it justice. The presentation is as good as or better than any other inspired by house out there that I've tried.
It's better than most designers.
Yeah, no, it is. And Anastasia's in the chat, and she had a great point. She goes, hey, look, I have 6 of them. I've ordered 5 more today. They're just wonderful, guilt-free sprays for me that give the vibe. And she's exactly right. I mean,
Yeah.
talking about guilt-free sprays, that's a great way to think. You don't feel like you're putting on $35 worth of fragrance in one spray.
So, a pro tip when it comes to buying Dave Mirage, I mean, you can go to anybody's showcase that carries it and buy it from them. If you buy it during somebody's live stream, it's automatically 20% off. So I think it's listed for 39 on TikTok Shop or on the website. But if you buy it from, whoever, Duke Demons Live, you'll get it for 20% off automatically. If you buy from the website, you buy 2, you get 1 free, and it ends up being like a little over $25 a bottle when you do it that way. More ways to save money. You're welcome to get it from me by showcase, but if you're looking to save a couple bucks, one of those 2 routes will get you the best deal possible.
That's a great pro tip. That's really, really good. So, Felicity, are you going to get more? You think you're going to get more of them, or you good for now?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I will get a few more, but I tell you what, Doc put me on to Barrett, and I'm sure I don't know if you're going to talk more about Barrett, but what I like about Barrett is they offer some things that is no longer made. Like they offer, they have a version of the Plummy Japanese. They have an Andy Warhol. They have some stuff that you just don't see, and so ordering samples of or the 10 mils, I believe it is, or 12 mils. Now that's the route I'm going to go for those. I just want to explore some more of those things because they're not readily available. So.
Yeah. That's a great point. So, a guy out there, fanatically fragrant Frank, a buddy of mine that does content and stuff he sent me, this is their cover of Plum Japanese called Inchoku. And otherwise, I'm not going to get to try Plum Japanese because on resellers, it's like $1,000. So he said, hey, try this Barrett version. I think it's close and it's phenomenal. They also have versions of like Blue Electrique and some other ones that you can literally get this for $12.99 or probably $10 if you use one of those discount codes. So
that's right.
Very, very good deal and a way to get an idea of what some of those fragrances smell like without dropping hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So
get you to the profile.
Yeah, exactly. You'll get, it's not a 1-for-1, obviously, but it gets you an idea of that DNA. And they've got a whole bunch of new ones getting ready to drop here within the next few weeks that I've got a little bit of inside info on. So I think they got some really good stuff coming.
They name one after you finally, Doc?
No, I'm still waiting.
I know.
Still waiting.
They got to do it. They got to do it.
More fragrance, please. They're dropping a couple that he's collabed. I don't know what he called, but that are kind of named after him. That I'm excited to try. That I think will be really, really good. And Tragic's got a good point there. For the price you pay for a full bottle of Barrett, like this is, solid glass. This is a heavy metal cap with a pressurized atomizer. It's, for $38, that's kind of hard to beat.
It's really hard to beat. Doc, do you have, I think you may have a CODE for Barrett potentially?
Yes, I do. TikTok shop.
For sure. TikTok shop. Without
anybody knows Morse code, and you want a Morse code FP20. That would be great.
Yeah, Morse code that one out to everybody, for sure, for sure. So, one of the questions that also that has come up that I'm kind of curious about from Vanilla. It's not really a question, but Vanilla was talking about having 13. I'm kind of curious with your nose, Vanilla. Which one is your favorite Desmirage? Day Mirage. I keep saying it wrong. Let me know which one that you have out there. I'm just really, really curious. Doc is good at making other people money. Uncle Tread
You
is
got a
taking
lot of
shots
room
at
to
you.
talk to.
He's taking shots at you. So one of the ones we haven't talked about
Oh,
that is
yeah.
all over that we know. We've talked about Blake quite a few times. We've not talked about Queensberry yet. Queensberry has a couple of original creations. One I'm holding right now is Tobacco Truffle, which is one of my favorites that they have that I really really like. And another one that is a clone or a inspiration is that I really do like is the vanilla or not vanilla. Sorry. Gosh, it's the Guerlain tobacco honey one. What's the name of that one? It's killing me. Havoc. Something Havoc. Sweet Havoc. There you go.
Sweet
Lizzie's got
Havoc.
me. Yeah, Lizzie got me. Thank you, Lizzie. I'm having an old man moment at 11 o'clock on Eastern time. It's a Sweet Havoc, which is another great one. I think that is just a beautiful fragrance. Those are two of my favorites. But yeah, what do you think about Queensberry and some of the stuff they're doing?
So I love to see this progression of the American fragrances. I've had this talk before with Rob of Make Sense, another great company out of Colorado. We'll touch on later. But it's super hard for most of these smaller companies to compete with the Latafas and the Ray Hans and the Armoffs of the world in terms of making schmoops and inspiration. So you see this natural progression, and we're seeing it with Barrett. I'm seeing it in Day Mirage, Queensberry, where they come out with their inspired buys and they slowly transition into some hybrids, and then they kind of transition from there into originals. And I think that's what's going to kind of get them over that hump onto that next stage of perfuming or whatever you want to call it, where they don't have to compete with Latapa because they got a little bit more artistic freedom to start blending some things and taking some chances. And so, I've got you got to eat your heart out if you're Queensberry collectors, because I've got OG bottles of Blake Run and Vibrant Sport.
I've never seen those
one of
bottles
the first.
ever.
Yeah, right. Who
This
knew
is
they were
old school.
ultra niche?
Yeah, this is double ultra niche. Actually,
Wow.
I just invented the term, so quote me on. Let's make T-shirts. But yeah, so there's those, and then from there, I've only got 4 currently in the collection. The first hybrid I think I ever got my hands on was this Crown Illusion, which was Blake's version or Mandy's version of Imagination and Aventus Cologne. And now, now Mandy's doing her own thing, making original creation. So I love to see that progression. Barrett's kind of doing the same with their hybrids. Now Day Mirage is making hybrids that are starting to do really well. And that's what I want to see, because I think that's going to get them up there and keep growing their business like they want without having to just make more Aventus clones.
Yeah, and Blake talked about it. Like, I mean, and he's right. He said, "Hey, a lot of these places, people have to trust your brand first before you start. If you just come out with your own creation, they're not going to know. I mean, they're not. What trust do they have with the brand, right? You've got to start making things that they know, and then they see the value and the quality, and then you can start. Once you've got that brand built up enough, you can then start kind of creating your own things, and people are going to trust you a little bit more with that. And so that makes a lot of sense. I mean, from a business perspective. So you're right. I think that evolution that happens has got to be pretty neat for them. Yeah, without a doubt. And then Pops, obviously, Pops has similar with Covenant. So I was just looking. So I finally got my Goose in. I've got a Goose and a Maverick to go with my Maverick. So Pops has told me Mavericks is his best selling fragrance that he has right now. Still is his best selling one. I can see why it's so it's very masculine, and I can see why people love it. Goose is a little bit different. There's something in that same DNA that pulls across, maybe with a little bit more leather in it that I'm picking up on. But it's a very interesting, both of these fragrances. I'm actually shocked that the clean and fresh ones aren't his best sellers, that Maverick is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's and I've got Maverick. I haven't tried Goose. You're not going to pull me away from Relentless.
No.
That's just my thing. And when he tells me that, like, oh, Maverick's my top seller, stop lying to me, because it should be Relentless.
I
See, now my favorite's Inner Court.
Which one?
Inner Court.
Okay.
I'm not a real big Irish guy. I am, but it's situational. But this is a more, this is an everyday iris. You could wear this, every day.
Mhm.
It's a fresh. It's a little more dressed up, but you could definitely, you could pull this off every single day in the office. It's not offensive.
Mhm.
It's not as polarizing as say an Obsidian or a Dior Homme Parfum or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TJV's
for
talking
sure.
in the chat. I mean, he's right. The Covenant is like one of my favorite ones. It's just so good. Can't beat it. It's definitely a good one in that vibrato kind of Tiger kind of DNA, but it's definitely a good one.
I don't think I have the Covenant. Now I'm jealous. I got
Uh-oh.
FOMO.
Well, you know a guy that can
Where's
send
his
you
phone? He needs to buy it.
Yeah, so you know a guy that'll help you out with that. So yeah.
Now, his next purchase is going to be Speed Legends, though. We all know that.
Yes. It needs to
So
be.
good.
And I keep buying stuff that's not on my list because it's a good deal. I've talked with Tragic about this. We all have our want list that we're kind of pursuing, but then I get on these stupid websites and something's like, well, I hate that fragrance, but that's a hell of a deal. And so
You gotta stay off that
Yeah,
WN.
I'm not the only one.
Gotta stay off that WN
Mhm.
site. I tell you, it'll get you. It'll get you quick. That's another piece of advice for you young content creators. Stay off WN. You'll be much better for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've got me a couple of times. They'd be holding the box this close to the camera. And I was like, man, it's a great deal for a full size bottle. Then the bottle comes in and it's like this big.
Oh,
Like, gosh dang, they had the zoom going on the camera.
Yep.
Oh,
That's right.
they
they
got
got
you.
me.
They got
They
you.
don't
big
list
time.
the size down in the fine print
No.
with
Oh.
the $45 shipping fee.
Oh gosh. Hey, yeah, this is why you have your uncles here. That's why we're the old unks in this fragrance game. We're trying to keep it real here, right? And follow your uncle Tragic too. He's got it's also his toxic trait. He can give you a lesson or two. Speed Legends.
Look, Toby's breaking my heart.
Ah,
Speed Legends for a steal tonight and it's sold out. See, that's what I get
Toby.
for trying to help out the community. I could be selfish.
You could be. You couldn't
Should have
be.
been.
You should have been. You should have been there buying that fragrance. I think
Yep.
because of this, somebody in this community should really send you like 10 mLs just for your contributions tonight to the community. At least 10
Yep,
mLs.
absolutely.
Maybe a whole bottle. You just never know. So,
Just a couple of 100 ml bottles. That's all I'd really need to get me for the next week or two. And I'd be fine after that.
yeah.
There's one we don't ever talk about. And Doc may know them. And I think I've mentioned them a handful of times, but they're out of Omaha, Nebraska. It's Gentleman's Nod.
Oh, I have not heard of them.
And they are, this one is definitely different. It actually has a mesquite note in it. It's very different. It's polarizing. There's no doubt. I mean, and it's a room filler. It's a 2 spray and go. But they have some really good stuff. I did about 6 samples of theirs last year, and I did a video on it a few weeks back, but they have some really good stuff. You guys, and they're not super expensive. 50 mils, about, I think, 125. And they do have I think they have a discovery set. So, and they do have some really good stuff.
So funny you talk about them. So they're a company that I actually have worked with through scentsplit.com, and they sent me. I've got 3 samples I'm holding right here in my hand that I just got
There
in
you go.
from Gentleman's Nod. So Juniper, Revere, Passion, Pauvier, and Damascus #1.
Peach. Passion fruit. That's right. And you'll like Damascus.
I do.
Damascus is really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good. I mean, all 3 of these I think are good. But it's the first time that I actually had heard of them when I got these samples in. So right there, it's like it was meant to be.
Yeah, and they're really big on the IG, not so much here.
Okay, that sounds like some Big Ten conference collusion is what that sounds like.
That would never happen at the Indiana University, the national champions in football.
of
It was never.
Yeah. Now, Dean, I got to know who is Indiana's rival? Is it Purdue?
No, okay, here we go. So in-state, yes. In-state rivals Purdue, but out-of-state, if you want to know the real rival, it's Kentucky. Because we can't lose to those crazy guys from Lexington, Kentucky. But yeah, that's probably the 2 big rivals that we hate to play.
Okay, my sister teaches at Purdue.
No,
So,
my wife's a Purdue grad, so it's okay. It's all right. We accept them sometime, but she's a bigger IU fan, I think, than anything else.
okay, good. but I don't support Purdue. My sister first took the job there like 3 years ago. They were the overall number 1 seed in March Madness, and I don't know much about college basketball, so I took them in my bracket, and they got beat first round. And so I called her and was like, "You got to get out of your contract because this is obviously not a good place to be." But she stuck it out, and I didn't win the tournament. So
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's okay, Anthony, because nobody really would watch that game anyway. I don't think anybody's actually tuned into that.
Indiana and Kentucky football, yeah, no offense. Yeah, I don't think anybody ever wants to be watching that one too much. No doubt about it. I keep going back to the game in 2005 when Christian Watford hit that last second shot against Kentucky, and everybody lost their damn minds in that game. It was one I will never forget. We'll just leave it at that.
now I will say it has been a joy to, every America, we love an underdog story. And so it has been joyful to watch IU football over the last 2 years and, go from like something that was never in anybody's conversation to all of a sudden my son like talking about it. He plays quarterback, so he loves Mendoza, and that guy's, the dude, that guy, if you saw him on the street, I don't think you would think that he's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, national champion winning quarterback. He's just kind of the all shucks kind of dorky guy that's just happy to be there, and he's just an animal. So
That's exactly
it was a joy to watch.
That's exactly what it is, man. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable watching them play, and it's just a new world with NIL. It's just a whole new world. I don't know if I love it all the time, but it's here to stay, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. But you see a team that, for the most part, I mean, they weren't spending near as much as some other schools in the conference. And had a lot of like 1-star, 2-star kind of guys that, someone brought over from JMU with that coach that obviously were some serious football players. So
no doubt.
Doc Ali in the chat said that he bought a Subway fare on your recommendation. So he also said that if it sucks, you got to buy it.
Yeah. Hey, I tell you, if it sucks, I want you to box it up and send it to me with a couple of samples of Speed Legends, and I will take care of it for you. I've got a program where I will dispose of your unwanted fragrances.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send
Show's
this
over.
I'm gonna send this to you guys. Don't you worry. I'm gonna autograph this and send it to you. Not with Speed Legends. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I'll take it if it's doused in Speed Legends. I'll use it as an air freshener.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So what? So I'm trying to think. One other house that's kind of interesting to me that I don't know much about, Doc. I don't. You may be able to. I don't think he's in here, but like House of Phoenix. What is that? What's that whole deal? Because he's got a couple things that I think are his own, right?
Yeah, he has started. So that's my buddy Angel that's down there in Florida. That months and months ago, for a while, he's been running his own online store. Primarily has some decants, but primarily Dubai fragrances. You can use the code Fougere10 for 10% off. No kickback on that. But he recently started making his own stuff. I haven't got to try any yet.
You're a bad businessman, Doc. I need to be your agent. I don't know what you keep signing these deals, man. I don't know what. Did you go to business school? No, you went to med school. You didn't go to business school. Come on, Doc.
No. I have not taken a single business class, and when you watch me do my taxes, you'll understand that I did not take a business class.
Well, and you have built-in trust. You need to learn how to exploit that.
Yeah, that's true. You just need 5 sprays of Barrett fragrances 3 times a day as needed.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out, Doc. I had to get that in there, man. I had to get that in there.
So my guy there at houseoffphoenixperfume.com has sales of primarily Dubai stuff, started making his own stuff. I haven't tried it yet, heard some good things, but he's a great, great dude. If you're looking to shop for some of the TikTok shop style bottles, you probably aren't going to find better prices or faster shipping than him. If you place an order right now, you're going to get an alert at like 10 o'clock tomorrow morning that it is at UPS. He takes care of his people. So
he really does.
Looking at those,
gosh,
yeah, he's a stud. I've ordered half my Christmas presents that I gave to people came from him because everybody got fragrance this year. So, but he'll take care of you. I'm excited to try some of his new stuff. I know he's working on some things. So, I'm excited to get my nose on it, but I haven't tried anything yet.
So the good one, the one that I've got right now, I mean, the good one. There's a lot of good ones. So the one that I've got that I'm really impressed with is his version of Guerlain Double Vanille, the vanilla Intanel, I think is what it is. It is so good. It is so good. It's wonderful. So I can't speak highly enough. If you're looking for something that's affordable, that's a good way to do it for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of Florida, Florida houses, do any of you have any nobility?
I do not.
I've been seeing him quite a bit in and out of, lives over the past couple weeks, and he's not new, but new to me. And he has some pretty interesting stuff. I mean, he has, some stuff that's probably not so, I don't want to say not great, but challenging for some, more that niche, type, scent. And then he has some that folks really, really enjoy from what I understand. So, it might be something to tap into. He's fairly, reasonable in his prices. He has, from everything I can tell, he has a pretty good reputation.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you bring it up, and that
nobility parfums.
And I say challenging because he has one that has like burnt extension cord note or something. And I don't know if it's like a marketing thing, but I mean, so it's not me making it challenge, it's not me saying it's challenging. He's making it challenging when you have those notes in it.
So that sounds like me trying to put up my Christmas lights.
Yeah, it's Nobility Parfums, I believe is the name of that one. But another one that you brought up that we haven't talked about yet that I don't know much about. I'm curious if you guys do, but I've heard Fragrance Fiend talk about them quite a bit. Especially he swears they have the best symphony cologne that's out there is Udessa. Oudessa. I don't know much about them. Never bought anything. I'm considering maybe picking up something there, but didn't know if any of you had ordered from them or know anything about Udessa.
I know just a little bit. They are U.S. based. They have a highly touted Aventus clone, if that's your thing, which it is definitely my thing. But I cannot remember the name of it. If somebody knows it and wants to type it in.
You said for the Aventus?
Michigan, yes. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the event. Almost something noir, maybe.
Yeah, I'm in here. I can tell you. Give me one sec.
And
Lizzie said she has not been impressed, though.
Huh?
And Vanilla the other night he mentioned a house, and Vanilla, you can type in the chat. I don't want to say it because I don't know if it's called Mirror Image.
Yes, I was getting ready to bring them up. Mirror Image fragrances. And so Vanilla sent me this decant of, see if I get the focus. This is Root Beer Reserve, and this is the coolest fragrance I think I've smelled. It smells just like if you got an ice cold glass of A&W that you just poured, you lift it to your mouth, and when that root beer fizz hits your nose, that's exactly what this smells like.
Oh my gosh.
And you could layer it with like vanilla ice cream scent. That'd just be summertime. So I don't know if I'd wear it necessarily, but just smelling it is fantastic. It's just phenomenal.
So
I've never smelled anything that's so realistic.
Even like I'm just trying to think of one that gives me that same vibe a little bit potentially is that Boss Bottled Absolute that has a little bit of that kind of that I don't know, it's kind of got that same kind of vibe a little bit maybe. Would you compare it to that or completely different?
This is, the note, I guess I had to research root beer. And basically, it's the sarsaparilla root that they used to brew to make root beer. It turns out it's toxic, but so they don't do that anymore. They replace it with a synthetic one. But it has that sarsaparilla type of spiciness to it. It's almost kind of probably in the similar family as like a ginger type of thing, or a snake root if you guys used to dig that up when you were kids. But it smells just like root beer. It's not like, oh, it's kind of root beer with this and that. No, it smells just like root beer. So I even tested it on my kids, and they're like, yeah, that's root beer. Okay,
so photorealistic root beer.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're based in Texas, is where they are. And then I was trying to think. So another company that we've not talked about that I've heard a lot of people mention is Hez, HEZ. Have you guys? Yeah. Do they do some of their own fragrances as well?
Yes, and there was one. Somebody sent me a sample of it. I think it's one of the more popular ones, and Jackson Square, perhaps. I may be getting this wrong, but it smells like warm blueberry pancakes covered in syrup.
Gourmand as gourmand can be.
Yeah, and it is a phenomenal scent. Really, really good. I haven't tried anything else from him, but I've watched a couple of his lives. Seems like a really neat artistic guy that's making some good stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Have
that's
you,
another one. Go ahead. Go ahead there, Full
have
State.
you, now say I'm sure you guys have you tried Kieran NYC?
I have not.
Uh, this is a fantastic, it's called Sunday Brunch, and it's a tea fragrance, and it only has 4 notes in it, but it is fantastic. It smells fantastic. This would be, to me now, for me, yeah, I like this better than Imagination. It just me, though.
Okay, I like
But it's in that space with that, tea-based fragrance.
Mhm.
Oh
So
man,
it's worth a shot too. They're not crazy expensive either.
Okay. What's the average like bottle cost on a NYC?
Like $120 maybe. And
Oh,
I think you can find them, elsewhere, a little less.
okay. Another one, if American made tea fragrance, at least American perfumed, it may be bottled in France, but Chris Collins African Rooibos. If people out there are into tree or tea and you haven't tried that one, it's really, really nice. Really fantastic. So
that's another good one. Ken is in the chat. He said he had a question about Boss Fragrance. Ken, if you want to throw that in your question in the chat, I'm sure we could probably answer that as we go through it for sure. But Uncle Tragic, I think he really likes it too, right? He likes that tea fragrance, that Roy Boss.
yeah. Yeah, it's very, I tell you what, I didn't think I was a tea fragrance guy until I smelled that. And then I was like, I guess I am. Oh, it's that good.
Is it more of a green tea or more of a black tea kind of fragrance, do you think?
That's a good question. I guess technically it's a rooibos tea, which is a type of tea.
That makes sense.
Why they had to give it such a terrible tongue twisting. I mean, I'm from Oklahoma. All we have is vape shops and there's no libraries here. So pronouncing that is interesting.
Yeah,
But,
this one smells like a sweet lemon iced tea.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's bright. It's nice.
Is it?
So speaking of tea fragrances, since we're on this kick, there's a company out of Carolina called, I want to say it's Coastal Carolina.
That's right.
And they've got one called Southern Peach Tea that fragrance dude sent me a sample of, and it is a very photorealistic. If you're from the South and you drink a lot of sweet tea, well, there's not other tea besides sweet tea if you're from the South.
That's right.
So you take that and you add peach to it, and it's just photorealistic, and it's really, really nice.
So I know you're a big Boss fan too, there, Doc. So I know that's a little, but so Ken's looking for the best Boss fragrance for everyday wear. What do you think? Which one are you giving him?
Okay, I can. So I've got like 13 Bosses, and here's the very generic answer to that. Most of what they make is absolutely excellent for everyday wear. Based on guys, if you're about our age, me and Dean and Flow State, the most affordable and perfect for everyday wear is the bottled EDP. It's got a little bit of an old school vibe to it, but it's just really nice. It's kind of complex enough for like compliments on a date night, but also smooth enough that it works for work and as a daily driver. And you can pick it up for like $40. It's a really, really nice fragrance.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
Gen Xer, yeah. Get the bottled EDP. There's all of them are really, really nice, but for our generation, I say the EDP.
Covenant's in the house. Look who just had. It's like we just said his name, and he just popped in. So glad that he's
here.
Pops is back in. I know he had a big day. He was at. I think he was at he had a whatnot earlier tonight, so he was there. So, but. Yeah, well, he was doing something there. He's always hustling. He always tells me. Just got home.
He's a businessman.
He is. Yeah, he is.
A businessman.
You guys need a partner. He might actually get you to make you some money if you guys, need to team up.
I am the world's worst salesman, and he's like the world's best salesman. It would be an oil and vinegar type of situation for sure.
He can certainly show you how to exploit everybody's trust they have in you.
Let's get it going. Let's get it. Me and him will be on whatnot. I'll be in a white coat, and he'll be in a 3-piece suit, and we'll just be slanging some Nautica Voyage.
Honestly, I think you just wrote a brief for one of those things.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. We'll be $75 for Nautica Voyage, Axe Phoenix bundle packs. It'll be over.
Voyage dupes.
Yep.
Yeah, Tupin voyage. Oh wow, that's man, I'm gonna have questions for you, Doc, if that happens. I'm gonna need proof of life to make sure you're not being held hostage somewhere if you're selling
Anything to afford Speed Legends, I'm willing to do at this point. So
selling fragrances and inhalers and COPD mask and oxygen, whatever people need, right? Whatever they need.
scented CPAPs is really going to be where I've yep, that's where I'm going to kind of make my money
I
at.
see the crossover. I see the lanes. They're converging. Now you're talking, man.
Yep.
Now you're talking.
Flavored oxygen.
I'm telling you, we're on to something here, guys. I think, let's just get off here and start writing the business plan before somebody takes this idea and runs with it, beats us to it. Oh my gosh! So what? I'm trying to think of some other ones. So I know that I know you have more. So what are some other ones that you want to make sure that we mention tonight? Because I want to make sure I know people are taking really good notes.
Okay, so a couple to talk about. This is another company out of Texas, bottled in New York though, but this is called Inspired by Scent. And I got turned on to them by Manny, who's on here, part of the fragrance community, also out of Florida. But they do Inspired by Scents. But they have one called Aventus Essence that is obviously Creed Aventus. But in terms of smelling similar, like there's a million Aventus dupes out there and they're all nice and wearable. But in terms of one that's not trying to put its own twist on it, that's just trying to be similar, this is very, very good. Pretty affordable. They always have like these great deals and all sorts of just very, very affordable. The best thing about this company though, and I don't have one to show, is they make car air fresheners.
Huh.
And as a scent nerd, I've been looking for one that was good. When my son turned 16 back in September, I bought him one of the Aventus and it was so good, I stole it back from him and used it in my truck. And there's nothing better than getting in your truck super early in the morning, going to work, and I'm questioning every decision I've made in my life at 4:30 in the morning. And I get in my truck and it smells like Creed Aventus. I'm like, well, I did something right. So.
Oh, Doc, I tell you, Doc, I worry about you sometimes, brother.
You should. You should.
Yeah, that early in the morning, I think smelling, get in a car and smelling something like that, but only tell me that I was in the right car.
Yeah.
I want to know if everybody in Florida stinks, because apparently Florida's the place to be for fragrance. I mean, did you trying to tell me something there, Flow State? I mean, you all just stink so bad.
I promise you, we have some that stink.
Yeah.
The first rule of this whole thing is to wash your behind.
No, that is true. You can't. Yeah, that's right. That is the first rule. You're right.
Yeah. You're not going to get any compliments with really bad breath. So.
Yeah. For sure. What was the other one you were looking at there, Pop? Or I called you Pops, Doc. I'm telling you, I'm heading down a bad path here.
That's all right. I'm trying to give everybody a shout out. So, try to support these companies. Don't want to forget anybody. But out of Colorado, we'll switch states for once tonight. Makes Sense. A guy named Rob that started out, interesting story. I did a video with him. He got in a real bad car accident years ago and was like pretty much wheelchair bound for months, and while he was doing his rehab and sort of recovered and got into fragrances. So he started out making Inspired by Scents. And he's getting out of it now and making originals, but I almost wish he wouldn't, because he makes some of the craziest. If there's a 1-to-1 out there, he makes it. I don't believe in those, but the closest I've ever smelled are what he's made. And he also would amp them up to where if you got something like a Blockade that would only last for 4 or 5 hours, his version would last for 7 or 8, and it would smell almost identical. The other day, I came across a decant he sent me of Imagination, and I just sprayed it one time on my arm just to smell it. Smelled fantastic. Went throughout my day, literally showered, full actual, Oklahoma shower with soap and everything and water, and could still smell it where I sprayed it from that one spray. I had to get up close to my skin to smell it, but it was still there. So but he makes really, really good stuff. He's making originals now. He sent me a bunch of them. They're super nice, but I think on his website, he still has some of his inspirations. They're pricier than most, but when you smell it, you'll understand why. That makes sense.
Yeah, whenever I send you some samples next time, Doc, I'm going to throw in a loofah to help you out.
Oh, man.
We don't need loofahs here. All you got to do is kind of get under the water for a little while, and it'll work. We got enough chemicals in our public water here that it's
No, no,
definitely
no.
killing.
I want you to own a loofah.
I tell you that, oh gosh, flow state, one of a kind, one of a kind. Rinsing counts. I agree, Vanilla. Rinsing counts. Nuclear stuff. So I mean, for Vanilla to say that, it must. I mean, for sure. I know he's smelled a lot of stuff. It must be.
Yeah, it is. It is phenomenal stuff, and the new stuff he's came out with, the originals. He's got one called Classic Gentleman that is kind of a blend between like a Dolce and Gabbana the one and like a Victor and Rolf Spice Bomb Extreme, kind of a date night style, boozy, sweet vanilla style fragrance. It's really, really nice. But he makes fantastic stuff. He's just a great human being too. He also made the fragrance for Juicy J, a creator out there called Twisted Grape, that I guess is doing pretty well.
Yeah.
This is going to be
He's
kind
the
of a
perfumer behind that.
this is going to be kind of a bigger question for you, and I don't know. I mean, I'm going to challenge you a little bit here, but what do you think that American perfumery does, really well that maybe people overlook? Because I think that's something that I think that there are probably some things that they do well that maybe you can't get in other places, and people just don't think about it. How would you answer that?
I would say for these, these brands back here that we're talking about and others that we haven't hit on yet, like maybe like City Rhythm, Prisma, Argos, things like that, some of these, bigger ones. I would say the thing that I've found that has drawn me into it and it keeps me coming back is that these guys and gals do a great job of making very nice, unique fragrances that are also wearable. There's a lot of unique scents out there, and you kind of like them, be like, when the hell am I ever going to wear that? Versus some of these here, like, yeah, they smell great, they're unique, but yeah, I'm going to wear this to work. Yeah, I'm going to wear this on my next date night. Yeah, this is my daily driver. They're wearable scents that for the very affordable, but at the same time, you're going to give you that kind of that wow factor.
It's funny you say that because that is really that's kind of one of the things that I think I've noticed as well. And you brought up City Rhythm. City Rhythm's a great one to bring up. That's one that I'm really trying to get my hands on a bottle right now of the Tempo. I think Tempo is a great fragrance. I think it's something it smells a little bit. My wife likes it, so that was kind of a big one right there. But they do some pretty good work as well, and that's one that I didn't even think about until you just mentioned it.
Yeah. So when it comes to these American fragrances, we've got the very affordable things like Barrett and Day Mirage, and you can go all the way up to the top of, like Argos, that's $300 some a bottle. Um, so that's what I tried to tell people in my videos and on the lives. Like, I got nothing against the YSLs of the world or the Latafas of the world, but you don't have to send your money overseas to have a cool cologne collection and to smell good. Literally have everything from the $20 Cremo bottles here that you pick up at Target to a $330 bottle of Argos. It's all right here in the States. You can keep all your money here, support small businesses, and support our own local economy and help people out while smelling fantastic at the same time.
So Hasman's in
I
the
think what
chat.
I've noticed.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Flow State. I'm gonna. Yeah, no.
Go ahead, Dean.
No, I was gonna say what I was gonna tell. I was gonna tell Hasman in the chat is he was talking about JPG and is it the most popular fragrance in the world. Actually, if you go by the sales number, you'd be maybe you're shocked, maybe you're not. Those are on here. Sauvage, Sauvage is the number one, and number two is Blue de Chanel, I believe. Is I probably shouldn't have said that, but that's that's the other one that is right up there as the most popular fragrances. And again, it goes back to just being easy wearable fragrances, and I think that's and people hate on that one so much, but I'm like, every time I look at the sales numbers, I'm like, well, they can hate on it all they want, they're still buying it.
Yeah, they're the New York Yankees of fragrance for sure.
I have some follow-ups on that, but I don't. It's probably best that we move on from that one. Flow State, I cut you off there, man. What were you going to say about the other brands, about the American brands?
Yeah, what kind of what I've noticed, is that particularly with the indie houses, right? And I guess that's kind of the thing, but when you get them, they are so well blended. You could tell it was a labor of love. When you from first spray, there's usually you don't have to let them sit. There's none of that stuff. Even with the ones that don't that cost less than $100. And like to Doc's point is they can be unique, but they just seem less chemically induced. They don't smell chemically or alcohol or they just I don't know, just a more cared for, curated fragrance. It's just the quality just seems so much better, especially with the indie houses in particular.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. You watch polysniffers like you watch any of their lives, like you can basically watch the creation of a fragrance from start to finish because you'll be there with Noah while he's mixing it and talking about it, creating it, and then a couple weeks later it's macerated and he's bottling it. And he's not going to put something in a bottle, which they bottle it all themselves, crimp it themselves, put it in the little UPS box themselves. They're not doing that and sending it out to me or you if he's not happy with it and if he doesn't like it. And, these bigger companies, I can't speak for them, but they've got, certain numbers they got to hit and a certain timeline they got to hit. And when that fragrance is done and it's time to bottle and sell, it's time to bottle and sell. And I don't think these smaller indie companies they don't have those kind of deadlines. They're going to get it where they want it when it's time. And then they're going to sell it because their reputation depends on it.
And to that point, you have direct contact with the creators, of the fragrance, the people who are bottling it. I mean, you watch them do it, and then I send Jamie and Noah an email saying that mine had gotten lost, and then within 30 minutes, I'm getting an email back saying, "Hey, we got another one coming to you. Just let us know if the other one shows up." And when people have that good a customer service that you can, get it sent right back out, you know,
Mhm.
same day. I mean, you don't get that from these larger companies a lot of times.
Yeah. And to that point, I bought my daughter what she wanted. Her number one thing for Christmas was a bottle of KLE, this really popular, female fragrance line. Um, I bought it. They sent it to me, and the bottle showed up broken. It was leaking all over the package. Something, maybe from cold weather. Who knows? It happens. I wasn't mad at them. It took me like a week to get a hold of them via email to tell them that this bottle was broken, and then I had to send them pictures and all this stuff, a proof of it. And it's like, okay, send it back. And when it gets to our warehouse, we'll send you a new bottle. And I was trying to tell them, like, this is what my daughter wants for Christmas. I don't care. I just need another bottle, by Christmas Day. Well, I didn't even get return emails till like a week after Christmas, send all the stuff back. And then 3 weeks after Christmas, finally, I hadn't heard anything from them. I emailed them and said, hey, did my bottle make it back to the warehouse? Did you send a new one? I said, "Oh, sorry, by the way, we're sold out. We refunded your money." It's
Yeah.
like, well, I didn't want my money back. I wanted a bottle. I would have waited another month for the restock or whatever. And I got it on like a Black Friday sale. So if I was going to go rebuy it, I'm going to have to pay the full retail instead of the good deal I got. And that just shows you kind of larger corporate America versus dealing with. Had that happened with the Queen's Barrett, Polysniffers Barrett, or whatever, I would have had a new bottle in my hands, days later.
Right.
So, and an apology for something they wouldn't even need to be sorry for.
I think it's huge. I think that's a big point. I don't think that's something we've not really touched on enough about that. I mean, you have somebody that you can call and talk to. A lot of these places, you can have a great conversation pretty quick with the person that's actually mixing, like you said, doing everything from start to finish. And I think that is something that really does matter, especially when you're putting a product as personal as fragrance on. Like you are spraying this on your skin. Like it is kind of like, when you think about where some of these bottles come from, and I'm sure they follow all the standards and everything, but they're shipped from overseas. You have no clue the chain of custody. Where literally we could drive to Texas and knock on Blake's door because all the people in the chat that give us all of our addresses that we can literally just go knock on the door and see exactly how our fragrances are made. And when you're putting stuff on your skin, I think that makes a difference, right? That's another good pro, I think, for an American made fragrance and some of those people that you get to know. So the brand that's in the chat, do you know what that is? I don't know if I've heard of that one. Is it Mykonos?
Yeah, I think it's a Vietnamese, or it's an Asian company.
Oh yeah, I've
Pretty
never tried
sure.
that one. Yeah, no, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I've seen some of the larger creators speak about them. They're fair, reasonable. I think they're that $30-$40 range. But
Okay, nice. While we're kind of on the topic, can we talk polysniffers for a minute?
100% we can. As long as you
Okay.
find out that I can get a bottle of Plummy J, as long as you can guarantee that, then we're good.
For sure. Noah has subconsciously guaranteed that for everybody.
Thank you.
And so I just want you guys to join me on my live this Saturday morning at 11:55. Everybody come jump. If you don't see me there in person, I'll be there. I'll be off camera. Just come and hop in. But seriously, Polysnifrous was one of the first like kind of indie brands I came across before getting into the other ones that just kind of blew me away. And the first two fragrances I got from them were a vintage red and a vintage blue. And you want to talk about just fantastic scents. A vintage red I put up right up there with some of my favorite American fragrances, right up there with like Soul Cafe. This is at Soul Cafe level for me, and it's a cranberry twist on Creativentus, which I love Creativentus. I didn't think I loved cranberries, but I did after smelling this, and it just smells like the holidays. As you can see, this bottle has been dented. But this is something like I wish my house smelled like this, my car, my kids. I'll just randomly spray them when they walk by because it smells that good.
Why'd you leave the wife off the list, Doc?
Yeah.
Well, it's special stuff for her. That's the vintage pink. But so good. So good. Now, and the vintage blue is a minty, fresh, fruity twist on Creativentus. The best compliment I've ever got in my life for fragrance was from this. I wore it for the first time to work, and no lie, I'm seeing a patient in the ER, and it's like a young 20-year-old female. She's fine, runny nose, whatever. Mom's sitting next to her, and I'm talking to this patient about what's going on, and her mom stops me mid sentence and says, "Son," she was an older lady, like, "I can't listen to anything you say because you smell so good." No lie, word for word. So it works. If you're looking for like 57-year-old women to be tossing compliments at you, this is the one.
Well, I mean, if you're making women speechless with it,
Yeah,
fellas,
Hey,
do you ever want them to be quiet?
that's the one.
there you go.
So
Now
super fresh, kind of like Sedley and Aventus mixed. Very, very good.
Chipotle poppy sold.
Yeah. You're in, buddy. You're in. The Brackish Man,
Oh,
which is
love it.
love based on Bracken Man, and it's an amber fougere. So that familiarity you get from it is that barbershop fougere, but then it's got like some amber and tobacco in it that make it more unique, make it a little bit heavier and complex. And this is a fougere scent, a barbershop scent for a gentleman. It's really, really nice, and this is my go-to in the fall. Like something about like kind of that late October weather, college football Saturday, and smelling this just does it for me. Chili in the crock pot kind of day, that type of thing. It's phenomenal. But my favorite is the OG Aventish. And the story behind this, Noah does not like Creativentus. And he was smelling, he's like, I don't get why people like it. This fragrance sucks. So he went out and made an Aventus that he would like, where he amped up the pineapple, the birch tar, the oak moss, and it falls right in between the original Creativentus and the Absolute Aventus. It's stronger than the original, not as amped up as the Absolute, but it's in that DNA with some unique twist to it. So if you like Aventus like I do, you need to get your hands on this one.
That'll be
It's
my
a
next.
true inspired fragrance. It's not a copy. It's him actually being inspired by that in a negative way to make it better. And that's really what an inspired fragrance is. We use that term a lot. But this is not a clone or a dupe. This is let me put my twist on that recipe. So
Have you tried their dusk or their dawn, Doc?
yeah, so I stayed up after a night shift to get these. That's how hard it is to get your hands on their releases sometimes. I'm a bigger fan of the Dawn because it's a little bit fresher. But for those of you that like the heavier, smoky stuff, the dusk, if you're an Iris Obsidian guy, if you're an Amouage Outlands guy, this is the one. Let's see what else I got back there. If you're into the Ambrish Absolute is another super heavy, woody, oody, resinous style of fragrance that, for you dark fragrance lovers, that juice is, I could refinish the coffee table with that juice for sure. It's nice as well. And then last but not least, I don't have all of them, but I've got 9 of them. This is a vintage Aqua, which was kind of a happy accident where he ended up making a tropical fruity twist on a vintage blue and then just ran with it. So this is an even fresher, fruitier, sweeter version of a vintage blue that it's like a summertime Aventus, basically. And it's really, really nice.
Now, do you know much about the houses that are uh, on their site?
So I've tried to kind of learn about this, the Artisan Dixit,
Yeah,
and Natish.
yeah.
Natish Dixit, I think, is his name, but Artisan Dixit is the house.
Mhm.
I think, if that makes sense. So, from the way I understand it, they are a distributor for Artisan Dixit. So, like, they buy the fragrances from them or get it from him and then sell them, to us, the general public. But Noah has also collabed on a handful of fragrances with Natish Dixit. I think
Now, are they American based?
that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I've smelled a couple others. They got one called Octopus, which is like a real kind of a classy blue fragrance. That's really, really nice. I got it for my dad for Christmas, and he loved it.
Yeah,
Um,
he sent me a sample of the Tales of a Western some red. I haven't tried it, but
okay, yeah, that I've got a couple of the samples from there. There's one called Gentleman. Some of them they're pretty heavier, complex style. They're not probably as wearable as the polysniffer stuff, in my opinion.
Sound,
The Octopus is fantastic.
sounds like it's out of India from the chat. Fingers saying Jonathan said out of India, so that could be could be where that's at.
Freedom Moreno, that's another name.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
that's the name of the company, and Natish Dixit is the perfumer. I'm not sure. Jonathan probably knows, though.
Yeah. Question about on kind of going back quickly on Seve Fair, because I'm gonna probably pick up the bottle tonight of Soul Cafe, just based. I've been waiting to think about that. So is it a 50 ml? I mean, it sounds like from what you're saying, it's a 50 ml purchase for sure, all day long.
So is it worth the 50 ml?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you're saving money, the 30 ml for 84 is a good deal. The bottles are the same though. So this is the 50, this is the 30. They're just one's a little taller.
Okay.
Same presentation.
are the rocks the same?
No, so there's 3 different styles of rocks. And I think you just maybe randomly get a rock. I'm not sure if there's a rock that goes for each one. I'm not real sure, but there's 3 different rocks.
That's when facetious backfires.
Yeah.
Soul Cafe's out of stock. Someone is saying, I don't think so. I don't think so. Unless
They were restocking some stuff, but the packaging was going to be different.
I'm okay with the packaging being different.
So this is the 3 rocks that are offered.
Ah,
And I don't know if one goes with each specific fragrance or if you kind of just get a random lid based on how they're bottling at the time.
man, don't I feel like a schmo?
Was that FP20? Was that good for this one or no? That was a different site, wasn't it? That code?
No, that's for Barrett.
That's for Barrett.
And now, based on a video Savoir Faire put out the other day, which was very humbling for me, they gave a thank you to me and Zach Knows Best and another creator. They're going to start an affiliate program.
That's right. That's what he
because
said.
of Zach. And so I'm hoping that, I'd be honored if he'd let me have, an affiliate discount link.
Yeah, I think he shouted out maybe it was Notes with Victoria.
Yes. Yep.
Well, I just got a bottle, so I don't know. Chipotle Pappy, I would check it again because I just picked up a bottle of Soul Cafe, their EDP. But again, it was the big bottle, so that maybe they're out of one of the lower bottle quantities, but perhaps. And then the other one you were talking about, so regular vintage, is that out of stock too? Is that always out of stock? I mean, are all the polysniffers sent out usually, or do they keep some that are
pretty much? There's a couple less popular ones like the amberish and a couple of their intense fragrances that are kind of maybe harder wares that they will have in stock from time to time. But the way recently, and they've had tremendous growth on their page, they have a restock on a Saturday and it's gone like in probably an hour and a half, maybe less.
Yeah, they were relaunching a regular Vintage, it looks like on 2/7, and so that was last week, so I don't think it'll probably be a few more weeks before they have another one, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, cool, just checking. Yeah, I know
You know,
he talked about growing. He said that they were, he doesn't really want people doing a ton of videos on him because I mean, they're trying to scale up, I think, is kind of their next big step is figuring that out, I think. But, that's any business, right? When you start having success, trying to scale up's the hardest part of it.
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
well, making videos though is that stuff never goes away. So I would, I'd be able to make them all because because eventually they will be scaled up, and then that following or that anticipation will be there for when it's available for folks.
for sure.
I
And
don't really
they
understand
feel
that. Yeah,
bad.
that
They
line
feel
of thinking.
bad. I saw his video.
You
I
should.
mean, Jamie said it a couple times. Like, she's like, "Hey guys, like we hate this." Like, because I was telling her, joking with him on a live. I said, "Yeah," I said, "I'm gonna have to," I just think they hate the fact that people like have to get on there at noon and just it's luck of the algorithm, that they click fast enough to get through it. I just think that they absolutely hate that they're in that position. But and they seem authentic and genuine about that.
Yeah, yeah, and they have talked a lot about scaling up, but I think well, obviously we're not perfumers, but when you watch their lives and see what they're doing, to all of a sudden like triple or quadruple your production would be, I mean, almost undoable without like some employees and much larger equipment. Um, I just because they're on, I mean, they both have full-time jobs outside of that.
Well,
But
and
go ahead.
trust. I said in trust too, right? Because you're going to have to bring on folks, and
Mm,
Noah seems like the sort of individual who likes the control.
yeah,
So he's to give and have others be playing with his baby. I
mhm,
think that's probably hard too, and I
for
can
sure.
understand that.
And I think I may be misspoken here, but I think he talked about, there are opportunities when you're in the fragrance space to take your recipe and send it to a larger fragrance company that will make it, bottle it, blend it, all those things, and kind of sell it for you for a price.
That's right.
I think he kind of talked about that, but because it's so near and dear to his heart and it's so special, he is can't do that, because he's worried about the final product, and I totally get that, especially as a indie artisanal type of a thing. So everybody just be patient with them, and I don't, I make a ton of videos about them, but at the same time, like, well, do I really have to promote them? They sell out like, in an hour, basically in less than a Netflix movie, and their stuff is gone, so they don't need my help.
It actually makes me feel bad because I watched them bottle. Like, I even watch him as he's bottling and everything, and it takes a while to do it right, to fill the bottles and to get them crimped on and to get everything done. And I'm sitting there thinking, gosh, it takes him. I mean, they sell out quicker than it takes him just to put the caps on. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely, definitely.
And I'm glad that they don't. But to be honest, they probably could charge a lot more money than they do.
It was funny. He was on live earlier
That's one
tonight.
thing.
He was talking about that a little bit. He was I think some people have been getting on to them about 50 mLs costing what they do. And he's like, people, they just have no clue. You could tell he was frustrated that somebody was complaining about the price.
Yeah. And they mentioned that they are working hard to keep it at a attainable cost. And I think the last time I bought things, a 30 ml was somewhere in the $50 range, between 50 or 60, and then it was 80 to 90 for the larger bottle. And I think depending on the fragrance, some are a little bit more, maybe some less. But people complain all you want, and then I want you to drive to Sephora and see what it costs to get a bottle of YSL or, Chanel or Gucci. It's not going to happen. I mean, same with Soul Cafe, the big bottle is 144. The latest release from YSL, the Myself Absolute, was what, $205, so we've been a little bit spoiled by the Latifahs of the world in the TikTok shop, but if you want a good fragrance, whether it's niche, designer, or whatever, it's going to cost you some money.
Yeah.
Retail price on Creed is, $400 plus. So to get a handmade fragrance that's hand bottled, hand crimped, hand boxed, labeled, and it still comes out looking like this for under $150 is almost unheard of. So
Yeah, and in Jamie and Noah's, situation, I mean, we all watch, others too, Blake and, but you see the love that goes into what they're doing.
Mhm.
And, I don't know about you guys, but for me to see someone pour their passion out into that, and when you're able to buy their passion, I don't know, it's just different than going out and buying something as soulless as a bottle of YSL.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I think you bring up that's
Absolutely.
another great
There's
point when you think about the American made fragrances, right? I think that comes back to that same thing of being able to know who the people are really that are on the front lines of this. And some of these other brands that we buy. I mean, I love Guerlain. I've told you I love Guerlain. I know who the faces are. I know Delphine Jelk is the perfumer. I mean, I can't understand anything she says on her any of her videos because it's all in French. But great fragrances, but I just can't really relate to them. And so that's really for me. I think that does matter a lot when you can really kind of know them and understand them. Yeah, well said.
Mhm.
Well said.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Doc, I know I've kept you probably longer than I meant to. I apologize for that. It's been such a great conversation. So if there's something that somebody wants to know about the American brands, and they're just starting, they don't know what to do or kind of where they are. What's the one piece of advice you have for them on, besides making sure they use all your links? What's
Absolutely. Absolutely.
what's the one thing you'd recommend for them to do to kind of get started down this path?
It's a great question. And I'm just going to pause for a second for a word from our sponsors.
TikTok
Um,
shop.
yeah, TikTok Shop.
I didn't make
Um,
this a shoppable live for a reason.
Yeah. Start small. Start small. And go out and watch these videos. There's plenty of videos here on TikTok. If you're a little bit curious about Barrett or Queen's Bear or Prisma or Polysniffrus, any of these, Aurora Dawn, you name it. There's plenty of videos out there. And most of the time, these are done by smaller creators like us that, we're not the Cal Clones of the world, obviously, or the
We're not?
Terrence Flans or Marshalls. Well, I mean, we are.
No, okay.
I just want to say humble for the people
Yeah, that's
in the
right.
back
That's right.
row out there.
Yeah, good point. So,
But we're, when we make a video, especially about these indie brands, they're not paying us. I guarantee you they're not paying us. So, we got no reason to lie. So you'll get good, honest answers. And then you can kind of choose from there. But, and if you're in a city, a decent sized city, there's a good chance somebody somewhere in your city or in that county probably makes fragrance. So, search them out, support them, go to a smaller, like independent type perfume shop, and good chance they'll have it stocked there. Or, go to some of those smaller stores around, you'll find some of that stuff and just, try it. If you're kind of used to that Sephora, Dillard's, YSL type of stuff, it can be a little scary to kind of branch out. But once you start trying these, you're going to find out there's a lot of good stuff out there that's worth wearing, worth buying, worth collecting. It's all over the place.
what about you, Flo State? Any advice you got for the people?
Yeah, Discovery says, a lot of them offer them. Seek those out, and a lot of times they come with a voucher toward the first purchase, so you're able to save some money, and in some very rare cases, even the bottle itself is going to be free because they have put just a voucher because you bought the Discovery set in for the free bottle that you like. But that's probably the best way and probably the more financially prudent way to get involved instead of doing the things that we do.
Don't listen to Toby Sense in the chat. Full on blonde by. I tell you, that guy giving bad advice. Come on, Toby, what are you doing, man? No, I agree. I think that's really good. And I just did that with House of Cosmo, right? I just got their Discovery set, and they've got I'm going to use that towards a bottle. I finally broke down, and I'm going to try it. So we're gonna see. Lizzie, you too. I tell you, you guys are killing us out here. I'm telling you. Hey, Lizzie, thank you for moderating for us tonight. We really appreciate you kind of hanging in here and making sure we didn't have our addresses thrown all over the place. So we really appreciate that. And there's so many people in the chat that have been here almost all night. Toby Sense is a big one. Thank you so much for being here. And Steve has been here the whole time. And we had so many of you guys. I appreciate. We've got such a great community, and it means a lot. And I appreciate you guys taking the time on Wednesday night. I think that's what we're going to do, kind of going on from here forward. We're gonna keep Saturday to be kind of the community show where we have a bunch of people open boxes, and then on Wednesday nights we might go in a little bit of a deeper dive on a topic with maybe a house, maybe a brand. There's a couple different things I want to do with. I've got an oil house not far from here that does a lot of the flavoring and the oils for a lot of these fragrances. I'd love to do a behind the scenes tour of kind of how they do their operation. Actually, their head chemist is a graduate of the university I work for, and so I think that would be a really cool kind of behind the scenes look of something a little bit different in the industry that we haven't seen. So I'd like to take this show on the road sometime as well and do that. So I don't know, just some fun things. If you guys have ideas, but please put them in the chat. We're still kind of figuring things out. It's only been about 4 or 5 weeks we've been doing this. Wednesday nights, this is the first week. Doc officially has the first Wednesday night show. He will always be known as our number one guest on the Wednesday night show. So he'll have number one in your heart.
Patient zero.
Patient zero.
Definitely patient zero. Definitely patient zero.
Just keep putting it up there. I know I'm right there. It's a good one. It's a good one. I've got these samples. I've got a full bottle I can come in now. I've got the 3, so I'm gonna get a bottle soon.
Yeah.
So Doc, I'm gonna give you the last word, brother. I'm gonna give you the last word. Go ahead,
okay,
Doc.
So, let me think of how I can close this out the best. Some solid advice is if you know how to do identity theft, get somebody else's identity, open a line of credit, and get on. I mean, go full retail at that point, and get as many as you can. Rack up some reward points, and then obviously close the line of credit once you've received the packages, and then change your address, things like that. But seriously, you don't have to send your money to Europe, Italy, France, Dubai to smell good, to start a collection. Let's do what we can to keep our money here in the American economy, support small businesses, literally buying some bottles, making a video about somebody like Queen's Bear or, any of these Covenant Scents, Makes Sense. These guys, is literally, putting food on the table for American families. As cheesy as that sounds, we're supporting small businesses. And when it's somebody like Blake or Pops or Will or these other guys that I know on a personal level, we're supporting them and supporting not just their hobby, but their dream and, hopefully, vocation at some point. So, not to shun Lattafa for them, but why throw $30 at a Lattafa that you're not sure if you can trust the person talking about it when you can throw that same amount of money at these American companies and that you can trust them. And if it turns out you don't like it, they're probably going to give you your money back or send you a different bottle that you will like because they want you to be happy. They want you to enjoy the fragrance. So they're doing all this together is what makes this community so great, is that they're doing good stuff and we're supporting them. They're supporting our content. And that's what makes this whole thing go round and worth being a part of.
Well said, Patient Zero. That was pretty good. It's like you planned that. That was really. I'm impressed with you right now.
Well, thank you. And you can use code FP20 at Barrett Fragrances at any time to save 20%.
Doc, I do have a question. How's it feel to be on a live that isn't restricted? This is like the first one you've been on that's not. I mean, you haven't had to cuss. You haven't had to throw anything.
I usually, once I get off the live, I have to go take these quizzes to regain access to my account. So I don't know what I'm going to do now. I may have a snack, go to bed. I don't know.
Doc, it's really been an honor. Thank you so much for giving us your time and being here and having this conversation. I hope we can have some more in the future. And we love your content. We appreciate it. You're one of the nicest guys in the game. And many of us, you were one of the first person that said hello and was kind to us and encouraged us to continue to do this. So thank you for doing that and being just a great guy.
Absolutely, guys. I enjoyed it. I love this. Love the community. For all you dudes out there that are part of it, thank you for joining in and supporting us and these American companies. And man, I'll see you guys all around.
Sounds great. Flow State, thank you for adding about a 5% to this, and we appreciate you. You were a solid 5% every time.
Solid 5%. No,
maybe 6.25.
I just can't wait to get back in Doc's lives. He has some pretty interesting trolls.
Yeah,
man. We got the good ones. We got the good ones. That's who's your after hours.
Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you.
All right, guys. Thanks.